Excellent instinct, and he's able to find the football.
Remember you said that about him the first time we were here with the Redskins years ago.
Yep.
Tommy Barnhart will kick. Joe Zelenka is the snapper. And there is Barnhart with a good kick from the end zone. And Hank Poteet on the return. Rookie from University of Pittsburgh has one man to beat. And he's going to make it for a touchdown. Punt return for a touchdown, and the Redskin woes on special teams continue.
It doesn't matter who's the head coach. They still go back and bite you in the rear end.
That is the second punt return for a score this year against the Redskins.
Well, he can't do without a couple of nice blocks. Zelenka just couldn't put the air brakes on. And then once he had Barnhart in that position, it's just a matter of running.
Sam Shade could not hold on, and Poteet, a third-round pick from the University of Pittsburgh, gets the touchdown and the extra point by Chris Brown, and the Steelers have taken a 10-3 lead. So the crowd in the rain looking for a Steeler victory in the finale here in this stadium. Plenty to cheer about to this point.
Poteet does get some help all the way down the field, not only on the outside but on the inside. And you have to be able to be smart enough as you're picking them right here. You have to be able to smart enough to be able to believe your eyes and follow your eyes. And then once you see the opening, hit it. Watch me, gets him this way, comes back to the inside, and then shakes off the tackle at the end. But all that, again, the blocking and then believing the eyes.
The kickoff is on the ground, and it just drops as James Thrash picking it up and pursued by black jerseys and run out of bounds. That was the second longest, or that was the longest punt return in Three Rivers Stadium history by a Pittsburgh Steeler, 53 yards. So Poteet does something never before done in this stadium by a Steeler. And next year, the Steelers will be playing in that stadium, as of yet unnamed, but the new home for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's going to be a stadium, Matt, that's going to be open in the end zone, so you'll be able to see the skyline of Pittsburgh.
And the other thing is, it's an open stadium, period. It's not a dome. And I like that, because I think up here in Pennsylvania, and all those elements come into play, and it becomes part of what you are. And it's part of the city. I mean, it's part of what this team is all about. I think that's a good move, making sure that it stays in the open air.
So in this final game ever here, Hank Poteet goes in the books for the longest Steeler punt return ever for a touchdown. Jeff George from the 27-yard line can't find a target and finally throws it out of bounds. Good coverage by the Steelers as we check in with Pam Oliver.
All right, Dick, I'm here on the Redskins sideline, but over on the Pittsburgh Steelers sideline, the players are actually sitting on those cold, hard, antiquated benches, while the Redskins, apparently wanting their players to have the best, actually brought in those warm, heated benches from FedEx Field. Players like Kennard Lang, LeVar Arrington are loving this right now. They're not exactly dry, but they are warm. Back to you.
They brought them in, huh? Personally, I think that's a mistake. I think the best thing you have to do is, once you get cold, stay cold. Because when you get to the sideline and you warm up, then you got to go out and get cold again.
We know Bud Grant, the former Viking head coach, wouldn't have liked that. And George's pass tipped away by Chad Scott, intended for Irving Fryer. Well, could you imagine Bud Grant having his team bringing in those warm or dry chairs when they were at the old Metropolitan Stadium in Minneapolis?
And then the bigger focus, and if you're thinking about, listen, if you're thinking about keeping your rear end warm and not about the game, then you don't deserve to be here. And right now, what this Washington Redskin team has done is they've gotten away from that underneath stuff, because that's still there. And they've gotten away from just being patient. That's where they had their success early.
Total yards, once dominated by the Redskins, now virtually even. Third down and 10. And once again, Jeff George looking for a target. And the pass up the middle, and it is intercepted. Chad Scott picks this one off. Albert Connell, who did not start the game, lost the ball in a little wrestling match with Scott, who gets the second pick of the game for the Steelers.
Nicely done by Chad Scott. Watch, Connell's going to come back to help him. And that's good. See, he's going to run his route. Now watch him redirect, and he's going to come back to help. The ball's there. That's just a wrestling match won by Scott. That's just a matter of just, hey, give me the ball. Who wants it more? Scott wanted it more, so he got it.
Looked like Connell had it, and Scott grabbed it away. So the 5th interception of the year for Scott, joining Washington, who also picked one off earlier. And a first down for the Steelers on the Redskin 38-yard line. Cordell Stewart pump fake. And he's looking for a receiver. And he finally finds one. It's caught by Troy Edwards. And a first down. Great ad-libbing by Cordell Stewart and maneuvering by Troy Edwards, and a 36-yard gain into Redskin territory.
Well, Bruce Smith had him on the run. And the good thing is you get blocked, but you just don't stop and you keep on going. He keeps on coming after Cordell Stewart, but not before Stewart's receivers did a good job of coming back and trying to get open so he could use this time here to find him.
And it wound up not 36, but a 12-yard gain after all of that. But the Steelers will take it, a first down on the 27, and the ball is fumbled. And Jerome Bettis alertly picks it up and gets something out of nothing. He picked up a couple.
Heck, they better put that in their playbook. That's one of their better-looking runs of the day.
And the clock is run down. A 2-minute warning here in Pittsburgh. The Steelers lead the Redskins 10-3. We'll be right back. Time report. You'll hear from JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris on the USS Harry S. Truman. So we'll go from the Mediterranean back here to Three Rivers, and also memories of this stadium. And that's all next on the Visa halftime report. I guess in the new stadium they'll still be able to say at the confluence of the Monongahela, Allegheny, and Ohio River.
No question about that.
2 minutes remaining.
As long as they keep flowing, they can continue to use that.
Second down and 9. Steelers have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Cordell Stewart with a quarterback draw gets to the 14-yard line, but that will be sufficient for a first down, and a good block by the Richard Huntley to allow Stewart to get the first.
Yeah, and also a good job by the guards. See, the first thing you have to do is you have to create them. You have to create this area inside. Now, once that's established, then Huntley does a good job on Barber and just allows him to get the first down. That's a good job of play calling, and it's well executed.
Steelers now on the 15, leading by a touchdown. Jerome Bettis off the left side, still driving, and it takes about 4 Redskins to bring him down at the 6-yard line, led by LeVar Arrington, the rookie from Penn State.
Jerome Bettis is fired up.
And a timeout called by the Steelers. We'll be right back.
Keep the feet moving. Keep the feet moving and don't stop, and just keep on pounding forward, because you know what usually happens? You'll get a little help from your friend. Usually there's a stray offensive lineman that gives you an extra push. A receiver will jump in there, and all of a sudden you picked up a couple more yards. 23 yards on 9 carries for Jerome Bettis, who has become a fixture here in Pittsburgh. And since coming over from the Rams, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. 121 yards to 5 total yardage here in the second quarter. 2nd and 1, and Jerome Bettis spins his way for the first down at the 3. Well, that was good. That was good. He took on Sam Shade right in the hole, and then once he made the contact, he rolled through it because he knew where that first down was. Now watch, this is on the other side. That's Bruner on Marco Coleman. Now, it's one thing to get blocked and then keep on blocking him and go to the whistle. Ooh, a little headbutt at the end of that. 40 seconds remain. Still 2 timeouts. It'll be first and goal at the 4-yard line, and Bettis gets to the 3. Sean Barber makes the tackle, and now the Steelers will call their second timeout, leaving them with 1. Now left with only 1 timeout left. 32 seconds remaining in the first half. Second down and goal for Pittsburgh. Steelers trying to wind up 500 here at Three Rivers Stadium in their last year. They're 3-4. Did you see him talking to Troy Edwards there? Cordell Stewart was talking to Troy Edwards on the outside. He was pretty animated with him. Let's see if he doesn't try to get the ball to him. It's like obviously a passing situation with Bettis out of the game. 2nd and goal, but it's a running play to Huntley, who scores.
have it. Bettis comes out. They hand off to Huntley. And the Steelers, taking advantage of the interception by Scott, have up their lead.
And just by spreading it out. And so what they did, they just took those wide receivers and they spread them out. And what they do is you create fewer defenders on the interior. And then with them out of there, you just go ahead and run right at it. Take your receivers, spread them outside. Then by taking them, you have to account for them out here, which leaves fewer people inside the box, and then you just run right up there.
And to make it look good, you've got to get Bettis out of the game.
To sell the deception?
Right. And Chris Brown adding the extra point. And the Steelers with 17 unanswered points. Getting the touchdown. Huntley with his second touchdown rushing of the season. We'll be right back. 17-3, and the winner of this game will keep the flickering playoff hopes alive. Each team needs to win and get a lot of help if they're to make the playoffs, but the loser is out. And right now, the Redskins have more than a slight hill to climb with 28 seconds to go in the half.
Well, they haven't been able to do anything offensively since they got away from their checkdowns underneath. And the patience that they showed early, they were moving the ball fine. They were running the ball okay. They had control of the ball, but since they got away from that and tried to push the ball down the field, they've not been able to have much consistency offensively.
And that deep pass that was intercepted by the Steelers first seemed to change the tone of this game as Chris Brown kicks it on the ground, and Adrian Morrell picking up the wet football, and Morrell tackled at the 32-yard line with 23 seconds on the clock. Well, the Cotton Bowl is coming to Fox on January 1st as the Tennessee Volunteers take on the Kansas State Wildcats. It all starts at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, right here on Fox. And last year's quarterback for Tennessee, T. Martin, is a rookie on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. Number 17. In fact, he was able to do what Peyton Manning couldn't do. Go ahead and get a couple of wins in a national championship.
Peyton Manning hoping his team can stay alive with the Colts. First down at the 33, and the handoff is to Larry Centers. And Centers gets up to the 37-yard line, a pickup of 4 yards. And the Redskins will call a timeout. They have 1 remaining. There you're looking at LeVar Arrington, who played his high school football
North Hills High, right here in Pittsburgh.
Area. And only 1 game was played in his high school career here at Three River Stadium. Just was able to play 1 game here.
Whitfield Championship, WPIAL. LeVar Arrington, of course, went to Penn State, was an All-American, came out early. Just watching him play, he's got a ways to go. He has big playability. Kind of broke him down on tape this week, and he's got to believe his eyes. He doesn't believe his eyes yet. But when after the play has developed, when it has been defined, he's special because he can burst, he can run. He's excellent job of sinking his hips and running through people. You saw that last week with Troy Aikman. But to be a complete linebacker, he's got a ways to go.
He moved into the starting lineup in the 4th week of the season and has been there ever since. 2nd and 6. Larry Centers with running room up the middle and gets into Steeler territory at the 49 with 9 seconds on the clock. Brent Alexander making the tackle, and so the Steelers, or the Redskins, use their last timeout. Let's take a glance at the AFC playoff picture. With Tennessee, Oakland, and Miami right now the leaders, but the Baltimore Ravens can still catch Tennessee. The Denver Broncos can still make things miserable for the Oakland Raiders. They've beaten them twice, and the Jets trying to stay alive against the Miami Dolphins, and they've beaten Miami twice. So it's going to go down to the wire there. The Colts and these Steelers still alive. Bill Cowher's team needs a win and a combination of things for Pittsburgh to get into postseason.
Colts in Miami play this week, which will be a good one. But, you know, the team you have to keep your eyes on, and people have forgotten about the great job that Mike Shanahan has done and his staff out there in Denver. I mean, they just keep on running the football. They overcome a lot of adversity, and they're right there in the middle of it. And I think you have to watch them. In Baltimore might be the best kept secret in the league right now. Nobody really knows just how good they are.
Can't score on that team. First down at the 49 with 9 seconds to go. And here is Jeff George passing. He completes it inside the 35, but with no timeouts left, the clock runs down. So it was Andre Reed with the catch, And that'll do it in what has been a successful first half for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that is the end of the first half with the score. The Pittsburgh Steelers 17 and the Washington Redskins 3. Half of this game, and look at the halftime numbers, which have been reduced thanks to a big second quarter by Pittsburgh.
Well, and you can see there really hasn't been that much offense, but the Steelers found what little they had in the second quarter, and then Potate has himself that touchdown, and all of a sudden you're looking at a 14-point deficit. And now why that's significant is because the Redskins, since that second drive of the game, they haven't done anything.
And this, of course, has been emblematic of what the Redskins have been going through in losing 3 games in a row. And they thought that when Jeff George engineered the victory against the St. Louis Rams on the road that things were again straightened out, but not so for Washington. And this got to go down. To this point, it's really one of the colossal failures of a team that was so widely heralded before the season started. Scott Bentley with the second half kickoff. Will Blackwell returning for the Steelers. Blackwell trying to weed his way and gets to about the 33-yard line. Matt Stevens and a few others corrals him. And right now, let's check in again with Pam Oliver.
All right, Dick, talked to both coaches at halftime. First of all, the Redskins, as dispirited as I've seen them all year. Terry Robisky, thinking offensively, says we got to get something going in the running game as well as in the passing game. As for Bill Cowher, he says his plan is to treat this game like it's 0-0. He wants the players to come out and reestablish the momentum that they took into halftime. Back to you.
If I were the Washington Redskins at this point, you're down by 14 points defensively. You have to make some plays. I think I'd start tightening up my coverage a little bit. Make Cordell Stewart have to be more accurate instead of sitting off. You're going to take a couple more chances, but you're going to, at this point, you have to do that.
From the 34-yard line, and there is a handoff to Jerome Bettis. Bettis, who in the first half gained 26 yards on 11 carries, picks up 3 on first down.
Now, they're doing fine in the running game with Jerome Bettis. They're doing fine. The only thing that happened in the first half was the legs of Cordell Stewart, when he was able to buy some time and with his feet and throw the ball down the field, again courtesy of his legs, and then also he took off a couple times and made some plays.
And a big pass to Bobby Shaw for 33 yards, so he had to complete the passes when he needed to. And this one, it appears to be caught, and it is by Courtney Hawkins, still about 1.5 yards short of the first down. Deion Sanders, one of the major acquisitions during the offseason, forcing Darrell Green into the role of the nickel corner, a role that Green, who has been a tremendous team player throughout, embraced. Green stays on there. 3rd down and 2 at the 42-yard line. Multiple wide receivers for Cordell Stewart, and the pass batted down at the line by Dana Stubblefield, and Pittsburgh will kick.
That was a little better by the Washington Redskin defense. They need to come out here and get this 3 and out. They need to be able to hand the ball back over to their offense with a little bit of field position, but they have to do something. They need something to pick it up. It's kind of flat here in the stadium. It's kind of dead, and so you have to generate something, some kind of emotion.
Josh Miller will be kicking. Deion Sanders back deep. Flag is down, and that kick will bounce into the end zone for a touchback, but there is a penalty marker down right around the line of scrimmage. And it looks like we're going to bring that back. The penalty is against the Steelers, an ineligible man downfield.
Ineligible member of the kicking team downfield, number 21. 5 yards, remains 4th down.
Bill Cowher in his 9th year as head coach of the Steelers, and in talking with him yesterday, Matt, he talked about some of his great memories, and he said, I remember the 2 championship games back-to-back that were all decided by passes in the end zone. One that brought the Steelers into a Super Bowl, the game against the Indianapolis Colts, and of course the one that did not work for them. And so he said the identical plays in back-to-back years, one year in which the Steelers got to the Super Bowl.
And I think the good point that he made there was that inevitably it came down to just one play, whether it makes or breaks your season. That's life in this league. One play, one game. There's only one successful team a year.
And one team will have its slim playoff hopes continue after this game, and the other one will be officially eliminated as Josh Miller fumbles the snap, and Miller will just sit on it inside the 20-yard line. So that's the second time today that's happened to Josh Miller and the Steelers. Both of those snaps out of Miller's hands. And now he is not getting up from the field.
You can see the rain coming down on this one. It's raining outside, but after this bobbled snap, I think he's raining on the inside as well.
The snap was good enough, but Miller still down and will take a timeout.
Almost hit him. You know, kickers don't get a lot of contact in camp. They don't get a lot of contact in practice. They don't get a lot of contact in the games. And so when they don't get a lot of contact, things happen to them. I don't want to make light of Josh Miller because he's obviously down, but
well, you know,
I guess I just did.
One area, Matt, that we have not broached with you during the season or any of these seasons have been the kicking department, and
I think maybe his feelings might be hurt there too.
Miller coming off the field, and the Redskins with great field position. By the way, an injury report on one of the Redskin receivers, James Thrash, in the first half suffered a bruised hip and doubtful as to whether he will return. So not only is Thrash part of the receiving corps as a starter, but also the punt returner as well. So first down for the Redskins on the 19, and if there was ever anything to try to get them back in the game, it's a break like this in Pittsburgh territory, trailing by 2 touchdowns. 3 tight ends. Jeff George, the quarterback.
Flemister is in. Remember, they were running the inside traps, and here it comes again.
Stephen Davis up ahead. Fumbles, and the loose ball, and recovered by the Steelers. So on the first play, Stephen Davis fumbles, forced by Dwayne Washington, and coughs it up. The Redskins story in microcosm right here all year long.
Well, it was not even, it was just a hand. Van Olhoffen got his hand in there and he just dropped the ball. And you could even see as he's running, he had both hands over the ball. Watch how he's going to try. See, Flemister gets himself the block. Now watch, he's going to cover up with 2 hands. Just flopped away. Pulled it out of there. Last week against the Dallas Cowboys, they came out, got themselves a fumble, and that was the end. That was the end of the game.
And this brings back memories of the game in Arizona when Stephen Davis fumbled, and Aeneas Williams ran it back 105 yards, I believe, for a touchdown. First down for the Steelers on the 17. And the fake handoff, and Bettis back to the 5-yard line, and now taking off and going out of bounds. Or Cordell Stewart, I should say. Stewart, the quarterback, after picking up 3 yards. So the Redskins, in many ways, shooting themselves in the foot by the virtue of fumbles and poor special teams play, and we have seen it once again this afternoon with their slim playoff hopes on the line.
That didn't have anything to do with the arm. He just dropped the ball.
A concussion suffered by Josh Miller, and doubtful as to his return, as you see Stephen Davis.
Chris Brown, who's
practicing his punting. He is the place kicker. 2nd down and 7. Cordell Stewart, and going up top with a fade pattern and intended for Troy Edwards, and defense by Darrell Green. Good coverage that time by Green.
Well, he had time to throw that ball down the field, because one thing they've been doing all day long has been blocking Bruce Smith. And here's Wayne Gandy. Just when he thinks he's going to be okay, Jerome Bettis comes in and just waffles him. And then the ball over the top. I don't know. Not supposed to tell. I mean, personally, I think you let that go. But if you're going to call it one way, you got to call it both ways.
It could be both going for the ball.
Hey, whenever a guy puts his hands up like that and says he didn't touch you, guaranteed he touched him.
3rd down and 7 out of the shotgun. Pressure on Stewart. It's picked up, and the pass drilled, and the pass pointed midfield by Bobby Shaw. Once again, Shaw open right down the middle for 33 yards, and that is the second 33-yard pass to Shaw, and a penalty marker back down at the line of scrimmage.
That's just Bruce Smith, who we just showed right at the end of this play. There's the... He's just going for throwing him down.
Roughing the passer on the defense, number 78. Throwing the quarterback down to the ground. 15 yards, first down.
And they're going to mark it off after the catch, the 33-yard gain by Shaw. And Bruce Smith roughing Cordell Stewart, trying to appeal to Mike Carey. And the Steelers, who were in trouble for a while when the Redskins got the ball on the 19-yard line. Then the fumble by Stephen Davis, and then the pass and the penalty. Now the Redskins backed up. The Steelers will have 1st and 10 on the Redskin 32. Big man on 3rd down all year long, Bobby Shaw.
Well, and what we said earlier, he's turned into their go-to guy, and they're comfortable with him. And the best thing is he responds, as you saw in those numbers.
1st down, and Jerome Bettis off the left side, driving Matt Stevens back. Flag is down back at the line of scrimmage, and Bettis getting to the 25-yard line, about 3.5 yards shy of the 1st down, and this one will go against the Steelers.
Is there a more affable guy than Jerome Bettis?
I doubt it.
10 yards, remains 1st down.
Jerome Bettis is one of those guys, always has a smile on his face. He's pleasant to be around. He's approachable. He plays the game hard the way it's supposed to be. He can be physical, but when you get him off, he just loves. You just love the bust. You got to, because he's a happy guy. I love him. I think he's, like I said, he's fun to be around.
And a throwback. He would have fit into the glory days of the Steelers for sure.
Funny, you see those two guys, those names right there, career rushing leaders. Prior to the game, I saw him run over. He saw Franco Harris standing over there, ran over, gave him a big hug. Here's Bettis right now in the slot, trying to draw people from out inside.
Following the holding penalty, 1st down and 20, and the pass thrown underneath, intended for Mark Bruner, incomplete, and defensed by LeVar Arrington.
Yeah, they caught it. Here's Jerome Bettis. This is what I saw right before the game. He saw Franco Harris. That's just the way Jerome Bettis is. He's just one of those guys that you gotta love him. Just got a great personality. Heck, you got guys taking pictures in the background. Good look.
2nd down and 20 for the Steelers, with 11:22 left here in the 3rd. Stewart getting pressure, and it's tipped and incomplete. Pass was intended for Richard Huntley, and Dan Wilkinson really putting the heat on Cordell.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try to run a screen back to the inside, and Wilkinson felt it, got the rush, and he was going to jump, and then he set it down quick because he felt if he's in the air, you're out of control. So he kind of just did like a little kind of hop, and then got his hands back up and forced the incompletion.
Steelers 2 for 7 on 3rd downs. This was a place in which was automatic for many years. The Steelers never had a losing year here at Three River Stadium until last year, and they are 3-4 coming into the finale this season. 3rd down and 20, and Stewart's pass off the hands of Courtney Hawkins, and that will bring up 4th down and a punting situation.
Well, the plan was right. It just couldn't make it happen because they ran everybody off on that right side, and then Hawkins was going to take the defender, Champ Bailey, hard to the inside and then come back out.
Josh Miller with the concussion, so Chris Brown, the place kicker, coming in to punt, and now Miller's all right, and the crowd giving them the cheer as he comes back in. Chris Brown was prepping for his punt situation, but Miller is in and will kick it away. This was a low snap, and Deion Sanders is back, and the ball takes a Steeler bounce and will be down inside the 5 again. Everything bouncing right for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. We'll be right back. There's Dan Rooney, the president of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is what the Steelers have accomplished here And when we say 25 home winning records, they were never below 500 until last year.
And one important number off that by the numbers, and that is one immaculate reception.
Biggest memory that the fans have here. First down and the handoff to Stephen Davis. Not much there on first down. Well, tomorrow the Fox pregame show continues from the Mediterranean aboard the USS Harry S. Truman as Howie presents his 2000 Tough Guy Awards, and then watch Chris at the controls of an F-14, plus Jimmy, Julian, and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, followed by NFL action. That's what's at stake. Big game for Detroit against the Jets, both of those teams. Green Bay and Minnesota, Atlanta at New Orleans. The Saints right now leading that NFC West by virtue of a tiebreaker. Pass out of the end zone is incomplete. The flag is down.
It's a hold in the end zone.
It's a safety.
Could be a safety if it was in the end zone.
Right. Irving Fryer was the intended receiver for the Redskins.
Now they'd have to determine where it was. Doesn't look like it's going to be in the end zone, because if there is holding back in this side, that's going to be, they'd throw 2 points up on the board for Pittsburgh.
Holding. Offense number 51. Penalty is declined. Brings up third down.
Mark Fisher, the center.
Fisher right in the middle. Come with a blitz. He's working on Earl Holmes, and that's not so much a hold as it is a tackle.
But they call holding.
It was a good call.
So Fisher, who has been forced into action with Corey Raymer out for the season with a knee injury. The middle three, the two guards in the center, they've had to use backups there most of the season. Third down and 9. And here comes the blitz on Jeff George, but he completes the pass to Fryer, and Fryer with a first down beyond the 20-yard line. So a clutch pass and the first catch of the game by Irving Fryer, who started today in place of Albert Connell.
Well, the whole key is right here. They can't get any pressure on him, and because Deshae Townsend actually came clean, but not before he was able to sit back there and read the field.
Gain of 15 yards, and the Redskins up to the 21-yard line. Rain has diminished to a slight drizzle. First and 10 at the 21. Redskins trying to get back in this one. And Jeff George throwing up the middle to Alexander, and the tight end makes the grab at midfield for another first down. So George backed up in his end zone, completing passes to Fryer and Alexander, this one for 30 yards.
They don't go with the blitz this time, and he's just going to be working on Ainsley Battles, the safety, and the ball's thrown perfectly. And actually he was a little bit lucky. It wasn't the prettiest of throws. It was thrown behind him, but the Pro Bowl tight end came up with a catch and a big first down.
At the 49-yard line of the Steelers, trailing by 2 touchdowns. Play action for George, who falls down in the rain and is down. And a huge loss of over 10 yards, it appears, for Jeff George. So that's what the rain and the wet artificial turf has done to the footing.
I like the call, because they were going to swing him back to the outside and bring the receivers down the field, but he just lost his feet. And when he lost his feet, he was rudely tagged down by Brent Alexander. Actually, I thought he was safe sticking to second base. It looked like, didn't it?
Looked like he got back before the relay. Second and 23. Adrian Morrell and Centers out of the backfield, and the pass thrown underneath to Centers. Centers fumbles. He made the catch and lost the ball. And going after it was Morrell, who recovers the fumble. So the Redskins, who have turned it over so far 3 times today, managed to avoid a fourth.
Just going to run an arrow back underneath. The ball just squirts out, and then it was flopping all over the place. Actually, they picked up a couple of yards on the fumble.
Levon Kirkland.
Yeah, just ripped his hand out of there, and the thing came squirting out.
And an injured Steeler on the field, as you see the scramble for the ball recovered by Morrell, is Earl Holmes. Holmes is shaken up with 8:12 remaining in the third quarter. It has been a wet day today here at Three Rivers Stadium.
Little bit of rain by Supertramp. That guy came prepared, huh?
Well, the raindrops are not falling on that man's head, and many of the fans coming prepared. Of course, here in Pittsburgh, a lot of yellow slickers, as they are used to wintry weather. It's not that cold today. Temperatures in the high 40s as the Redskins plagued by 3 turnovers, 4 penalties, and 6 missed tackles. And then you have to add the punt return for a touchdown by Poteet, the second punt return for a score against the Redskins this season. And so the puzzlement of the Washington Redskins, who were picked by so many to go to the Super Bowl even before they kicked off opening day because of the free agent acquisitions and the money spent by the owner Dan Snyder. He had 2 of the first 3 draft picks, and it was assumed that the Redskins would get to the promised land. But I think one thing is proven, that that may not be the way to get where you want to go in the NFL. 3rd down and 16. James Thrash back in the game. Suffered a bruised hip in the first half, but he's back in there now. Jeff George getting protection. And the pass is thrown incomplete, intended for Albert Connell. And 4th down coming up, and the Redskins send their punter on the field.
Washington Redskins, as you can look at these numbers, with Connell, with Jeff George as the quarterback, he's had nada, squat, zilch in successive in those weeks.
Jeff George taking over. His first start was against Arizona. As we said, named the starter this week and in the finale against Arizona to back up Brad Johnson, and now will finish the year as the starting quarterback. Tommy Barnhart will kick, and Hank Poteet, who returned a punt 53 yards for a touchdown, makes the fair catch at the 10. And that punt return for a touchdown, the longest ever in the stadium by a Pittsburgh Steeler. We'll be right back. Redskins and their prospects this year, things seem so bright with Brad Johnson having Jeff George as a backup. Johnson out with injury, and not much the Redskins have accomplished since Jeff George has taken over as the starter.
Well, there's a lot more to it than just the quarterback. I mean, those things started way at the beginning of the season, and where they started to unravel.
First down at the 12-yard line for the Steelers. Cordell Stewart handing off to Jerome Bettis, getting good yardage upfield, and gets about 6 on the play. Well, America's fastest sport is now coming to Fox. Starting in February 2001, Fox Sports is the place to turn to for every pit stop, lap, and checkered flag. It is the hot attraction on television and in the sporting world. It all begins this February with the 43rd running of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Fox Sports, the new home of NASCAR. 2nd down and 4, and again Bettis carries. And Jones and Stevens there, close to first down yardage at the 22.
Well, with the Washington Redskins offense as glum as it's been today, Pittsburgh Steelers will just be happy to just keep on pounding the football and run that clock down. And they believe that their defense can handle them, and it's been proven. They really haven't done anything all day other than that drive for 3 points. Since that time, they've just been severely average.
Eddie Murray's field goal in the first quarter, and then Chris Brown tied it up with a 3-pointer. Hank Poteet with a big punt return for a touchdown, and then the 3-yard run by Huntley as the Redskins turning it over 3 times. And here is Jerome Bettis breaking 2-3 tackles and wowing the crowd with a run out to the 35-yard line, getting 14 on the play before Mark Carrier winds up in his way.
Well, this is just pure power. And, you know, we showed you miscues earlier about missed tackles, and we were being kind when it said 6. Because there was 3 right there. They just, you got to go up there and you have to strike somebody. You don't go up there trying to reach, and you can't tackle him just with your arms. You you have to have some force behind it.
Longest run of the day by the Steelers, 14. Under 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Play action this time for Cordell Stewart, and the pass is caught, and a first down to Hines Ward. So Ward having a big year, leading the Steelers in receiving, having his best campaign. Moves the sticks as Deion Sanders now limps off the field.
Watch Deion again, just sitting on the outside, and he's going to take away the outside. And you know, it's just, you're just letting things develop in front of you and then get on top of him. He just got his knee banged up on the end of that play.
So Darrell Green replaces Deion Sanders. Steelers with a first down on the 46. Leading 17-3, and they go to Bettis again. Bettis is nailed by Sam Shade, coming up from strong safety, and a loss of a couple.
That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, you go up there with a little bit of force. Go up there, stick your face right in. He's the 8th man. He's going to be unblocked. He's going to sneak down. It's going to open up, and so you just have to go ahead and hit him. Take your shot. Bang. That's well done. Don't try to go in there and finesse him or cut him at the knee. Just go up and hit him. Hit him in the face.
Well,
you make the hit, wrap your arms, and it's good play.
Terry Robisky, whom you know very well, that's his kind of football. That's what he preaches. Second down and 12 at the 44. And a play action pass coming up. Stewart brings it to Shaw. And Bobby Shaw, who has caught a pair of 33-yard gains today, gets it up to midfield.
Bobby Shaw, once they get a couple of their guys back and some of the young players playing, Plexico Burris, when he starts to come around, they're going to be okay, because Bobby Shaw, he's got some game. And they're comfortable with him. And they do have their running game. They got to get some more healthy guys back to their offensive line. I'm talking probably about next year, just thinking of Dermontti Dawson. And if you can just continue to get this man's confidence going, he'll be fine here in Pittsburgh.
Well, he has matured, and the crowd formerly not on his side. They're on his side now, 3rd and 7. Now they're really on his side, although the dive is short of the first down by a yard. Sean Barber with good hustle. Barber has had an outstanding year in his own right for the Redskins.
And he's a little discombobulated right there. Sean Barber, I thought, has played very well this year. Thought he was one of the bright spots. His only drawback is he's not very big, so you have to hide him. You can't let big blockers get on him. But in terms of instincts, going to the ball, ability to make plays, coverage, good tackler in the open field, he plays well. With Deion down now, yeah, Champ Bailey's back there.
Not a bad man to have back there as a backup.
And Champ Bailey's got to take a step up too. Now this is his time. It's no longer Deion's time or Darrell Green's time. It's Champ Bailey's time.
That punt by Josh Miller will not count, as the play was blown dead prior to the kick. It'll be a delay of the game, 5-yarder marked off against the Steelers.
You know, looking at Champ Bailey,
The penalty is declined. 4th down.
So they won't mark it off, and Bailey will go back again.
he's got a lot of skills as a corner, and he has a chance now to, it's his time. And he's got to become more complete, because I watched him last week and he tackled horribly. Can't do that. He has the abilities to be a complete corner, cover and tackle. He's got to do that, and they can exploit his skills as a pass receiver and a returner.
The punt by Josh Miller, and Champ Bailey will let it bounce into the end zone. Bailey, by the way, will start for the NFC in the Pro Bowl. Steven Alexander also making the team.
By MasterCard, there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by Texaco, a world of energy.
Steelers by 2 touchdowns. You're looking at one of the great receivers in the game, Andre Reed.
Andre Reed, who's just had a phenomenal career. Hall of Fame numbers. Played in big games. Made big plays in all those games. And at this point now, reduced to the sidelines, and probably will be his last year. And you know, you'll watch Andre Reed out of Deerhoff High School in Allentown, went to Kutztown, went to the Buffalo Bills. Some great players up there, and maybe those great players overshadow what he's done, because he has had just a phenomenal career.
Playing on great Buffalo teams with Jim Kelly, the quarterback, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, the defensive end.
He was right there with him. He's a Hall of Fame kind of player.
2nd and 11. Jeff George with time, and the pass caught by Alexander. Steven Alexander, who has been a big target. The play was blown dead, down by contact, but a 20-yard gain. And Ainsley Battles with his first NFL start on the tackle.
Ainsley Battles is he's showed up quite a bit today. Yes, he has battled. He's been around the ball, and that's one of the measures of a safety is just how often they show up around the football. Battles they've used in a lot of blitzing, bringing them down, and he's also been there in pass coverage to be able to make some plays.
Hand off to Stephen Davis. Flag is down as Davis is tackled after a short gain. And most of the injured Steelers have returned to the game. Levon Kirkland earlier, Earl Holmes during this series also back, as the call by Mike Carey, the referee, holding against Washington.
They just can't help themselves.
Holding. Offense number 64. 10 yards. Remains first down.
Deion Sanders with a sprained knee, and the chance that he could come back before the end of this game. And it's the Redskins with a miserable last 7 possessions. 82 yards total offense in that last.
Cobraron. Davis entró con 1,159 yardas totales.
Monty Dawson, who'd like to come back again next year, and he's a little banged up, but he's still, in his 13th year, still as good as there is in the league.
First down and 20. Following the penalty and the screen pass to Davis. Davis used on the screen for the first time today. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage where Levon Kirkland takes him down.
Dick, the one player we haven't heard much from since the first quarter has been Larry Centers. He was the guy they were moving the football with and getting him down, and had a bunch of catches and key blocks. And since that time, he hasn't done anything. They haven't gone to him.
Yeah, you're right. He had 4 receptions in that first drive that resulted in the field goal.
He is right up here.
2nd and 10. Rush is on Jeff George by Kirkland, and he throws it away. So Levon Kirkland with the pass rush today on Jeff George. Thrown away.
You're going to watch him. He was looking up there to the top side. They were just running off. And see, one of the things, they had Steven Alexander back inside, but once first it's Gilden, and then here comes Levon Kirkland, and now it's going to take this side away, so that negates that side. So you almost, as a receiver, you have to work back, and actually that's a good play by the quarterback.
You pointed out how Jeff George running a smart game going underneath. When he went deep and the pass intercepted by Dwayne Washington, things kind of stalled in for the Redskins.
Steelers, though, they continue to just keep on bringing people up in his face.
3rd down and 10.
Boy, was that ugly.
And a flag is down upfield. So a penalty marker down as George trying to go to Irving Fryer. And this one is going to go against the Steelers. It'll be holding and an automatic first down.
Holding.
It's Deshae Townsend working to the outside. There's the hold they're going to call.
Automatic.
They call that. It'll be
First
like
down.
you heard Mike Carey say 5 yards, and it'll be a first down, so they continue the drive.
Deshae Townsend. So a first down for the Redskins. Bill Cowher's team playing like he used to play. As you look at Terry Robisky, and behind him Irving Fryer, the veteran, shaken up.
I'll tell you this, the Redskins aren't playing like Terry Robisky used to play, because that was one fired up guy.
First down at the 44-yard line. Fired up when we talked to him last night. Here is Stephen Davis. Nothing doing. No gain on the play. Time running down with 15 seconds, and that may be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Steelers leading the Redskins 17-3. The winner will keep their playoff hopes alive, and the loser is eliminated. That is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score: the Steelers 17, the Redskins 3. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, and Dan Rooney picking up the mantle from his dad, Art Rooney, the Steelers owner for so many years, and a contrast in styles of how they operate their clubs. Dan Rooney, very low-key. Daniel Snyder, anything but. Start of the 4th quarter. 2nd down and 9 for Jeff George with time, and the pass incomplete. It was tipped first by Earl Holmes, the linebacker, downfield.
You know, Dick, I said last year when Daniel Snyder took this team over, I said, And I believe this to be true, and I think it applies right now. When you become a player in this league, you have to learn how to play in the National Football League. You just have to. And then when you become a head coach, you have to learn how to be a head coach in this league. And when you become an owner, you have to learn how to own in this league. And you said something interesting, which is very true. I think he wants to win in the worst way. I think he wants to do the right thing, but I don't think he knows how, because on the other side, where Dan Rooney had his father, the chief, who taught him everything, this guy here is learning on his own.
And that's a good point. And the thing is that when you are a young owner, and you know, the worst thing is to think you have all the answers. You have to bring in the right people.
False start.
Penalty will go against the Redskins, 5 yards.
Still, third down.
And I think that's the big thing. You've got to have the right people who are advising you to make the moves you make.
And there's Fred Drasner, his partner. And I think you come in and you want to make the right moves. There's no question you want to make the right moves because you want to win. You're willing to spend money. You're willing to do all the things. But what you have to be able to do is you have to have a plan on how you're going to do it. And it has to be based in football. That's what we do. This is our lives.
Third down and 14. Great point. As a penalty down, and so is Jeff George. Jason Gilden getting the sack. And let's see whether the initial call, we may have a man in motion against the Redskins, but we'll wait to see what the officials decide here. We're 9 seconds in to the fourth quarter. Terry Robisky in his second game as head coach after taking over for Norv Turner.
Illegal motion on the offense, number 22, going forward at the snap.
So they'll replay it. Adrian Morrell was in motion. And they declined the penalty. So it is fourth down. And the Redskins will have to kick. But a good point you just said, and I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere, and that is the sport is football, and that is your business now.
This is what you do.
This is the business.
Yeah, this isn't a hostile takeover, another acquisition. This is a game played by. It's a people game. It's a people sport. You have to deal with that part of it, and you have to deal. It's football. You better have somebody who knows the game.
You saw Hank Poteet going back. He has already returned a punt, 53 yards for a touchdown. Tommy Barnhart with the punt and the fair catch by Poteet at the 31-yard line. So the Steelers get the ball back. Time running out for the Washington Redskins season. With Matt Millen and Pam Oliver, the Steelers less than a minute into the fourth quarter, leading the Redskins 17-3. Both teams 7-7 on the year. The winner keeps their very slim playoff hopes alive. The loser will be eliminated. First down at the 30-yard line. Cordell Stewart, the quarterback, looking to throw on first down, and going underneath to Hines Ward, who gets a few extra yards and picks up about 7 on the play. But it has been an active day for the versatile Cordell Stewart today.
He has been greased lightning today.
That's right. Second down and 3. Jerome Bettis. The rain has stopped, but the effect's still evident on the artificial turf. Bettis is stopped short of the first down by a yard by Dana Stubblefield.
Well, they're going to be content, as we mentioned before, to just run this clock down at the 13.5-minute mark. They can just keep on pounding, get into third and short, pick up your first down. That's all they need. They don't need any big plays. Cordell's thrown for about 150 yards. He's made some plays with his feet, which we said would be a problem at the start. They got the punt return for a touchdown, and past that, the Redskins have just been horrible. They don't look anything like a playoff team.
They have not come close to scoring a touchdown. They had a chance on the 19 and then turned it over in Pittsburgh territory. So 3rd and 1. Bettis, first down, and tack on a lot more as he gets close to midfield. Greg Jones making the tackle. They needed 1. They got 9 from the bus.
Well, the bus got a little help from his friend up front. Kreider, the fullback. They came with almost a blitz inside. You're going to watch right here. Derek Smith, boom, right there, took it on. Nice job also by the center. Duffy to the right side. They got another nice block all the way around, and then Bettis is able to get to that second level unimpeded.
60 yards for Jerome Bettis on 18 carries. Deion Sanders, by the way, back at cornerback for the Redskins. First down for Pittsburgh on the 48, and Bettis is tripped up immediately. LeVar Arrington got to him first.
You know, look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team. You can see some of the pieces of the puzzle starting to come together. Jerome Bettis, they're going to have to make a decision on Jerome Bettis for next year, what they're going to do with the contract. And, you know, you have to, sometimes you have to look at how long those teeth are and just to decide if you're going to ride that horse or not, because he's been very productive. But in today's football, you have to be fiscally responsible.
Got to make choices, and many of them are tough ones today. Second down 11 at the 47-yard line. And here is Bettis. Jerome Bettis. Hard to bring down. Well, there is Bettis with speaking out on his own behalf, getting 22 yards to the 31-yard line before LeVar Arrington takes him down. And a few words after the play by Jerome.
Watch Faneca 66, Wayne Gandy 72, Kreider right there in the hole. Beautifully done. Just all on top of each other. And then watch LeVar Arrington. Now he ran around the block. Now watch him get on his horse and run him down from behind. And those are some things you can't teach speed. He has that. It's the other part of the game that he's got to get better at.
And Bettis coming out of the game. 82 yards on the ground today for Jerome Bettis, and the handoff to Richard Huntley. Huntley, who scored a touchdown, showing his speed and drive, and gets into the end zone. A very impressive score.
Great run. Great job of running through tackles, and just a piteous job of tackling.
So a 30-yard touchdown run by Huntley, his second touchdown of the game, after Bettis ran for 22 yards, and it was Bailey and Shade, two members of Terry Robisky's secondary, who came up empty trying to grasp Huntley. And the Steelers have opened up a 23-3 lead.
It's over. The way they've been playing offense today.
The extra point by Chris Brown is good. So Richard Huntley getting into the act.
Champ Bailey, that's embarrassing.
Find in no other beer.
And after you score a touchdown, Richard Huntley showing his moves on the field. It's been a popular thing with athletes everywhere. Adrian Morrell on the return. And Morrell dragged down at the 30-yard line. Well, in the Redskins owner's box today, correspondent Bernard Shaw. But the Redskins, at least on that last play, are tackling like Judy Woodruff. And that may be a knock on Judy Woodruff.
I think he just offended her.
On and many of the greats who are here for the finale at Three Rivers Stadium for a post-game celebration. First down for the Redskins, and Jeff George completes to Irving Fryer, and a first down up to the 43-yard line. Jeff George is down on the field, and he is shaken up but talking.
Joey Porter just coming from the backside, and then ouch. On the front side was Jason Gilden. That hurts.
So Jeff George is shaken up, and George with his 5th NFL team coming to the Redskins this year. There is Brad Johnson, who's starting to warm up. So he started the year and maybe finishing the game. We'll see. Back to last week, Terry Robisky said the Redskins lost their composure. This week, same result at this point, as Brad Johnson limbering up, getting set to come in for the injured Jeff George, who is still lying on the turf.
Well, to go back to the beginning of the game, some of the things that we talked about that had to happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers they were going to try to pound the football and get Bettis going, but the X factor we said would be the legs of Cordell Stewart. That proved true. And then for the Washington Redskins, they had to get their running game going, which they haven't been able to do. And defensively, I thought they'd fare better, because I thought that their wide receivers, I'm sorry, the defensive backs of the Washington Redskins wouldn't be able, would be able to handle the wide receivers of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But the Steelers ran the ball early, and as it turned out, that Cordell Stewart in the offensive plan proved to be a lot smarter. Jeff George was on the right track early, and then, of course, the